Welcome to our videos introducing you to Adobe Photoshop. In this video, we'll provide a quick look at Photoshop fundamentals. Now, in this set of videos, I'm going to talk you through Photoshop, and specifically in this example, I'll be talking you through the latest version of Photoshop as I record this, which is Photoshop CS3 Extended. By the time you watch these videos, you may be working with a slightly more up-to-date version of Photoshop, but there will be more similarities than differences between versions, so you'll be able to translate whatever you see here quite straightforwardly into the version you may be using. If you go to adobe.com, generally you can download a free trial, a free, fully functioning trial of Photoshop, which is valid for 30 days. And after 30 days, it stops working, and you have to purchase it then if you want to keep on using it. But you can quite happily follow along with the demonstrations here in the fully functioning trial version of the software. Okay, in this set of videos, I'm going to largely avoid what's common to most other pieces of image creation and editing software. For example, I've done previous demonstrations on free image editing software such as IrfanView and Paint.net, and also one called GIMP. They're all free and they all work well, but of course they don't have anywhere near the number of features of Photoshop. If you're just after basic image creation and basic image editing, those pieces of software are perfect, but Photoshop expands on them by a huge amount, and it's the software that graphic design companies use, so it really is the leading image creation and editing software. Specifically, it's often used for photographs and touching up photographs and so on, for publishing in magazines and other publications. So what I'll be focusing on mostly is what's unique in Photoshop and helping you get productive very quickly with the unique features of Photoshop. I will give you a crash course in the fundamentals of Photoshop, and then we'll start getting into the features that are specific to the software, as I mentioned. But let's just begin with a very quick guided tour. Okay, you start up the software and here's how it looks. Here's the interface. Here's a toolbox here, and if you click the arrow, it makes it narrow and long. If you click the arrow which is now pointing to the right, it makes it wider and shorter. And any of these tools, it tells you what it is if you hold your mouse over it. Rectangular marquee tool. If I click and hold, I get different options. Rectangular marquee tool, elliptical marquee tool, single row marquee tool, and single column marquee tool. And all of these tools, with what you might call the little arrow in the bottom right corner, if you click and hold, you have different options for that tool. Okay, here's a quick selection tool. Click and hold. So there's the Quick Selection tool and the Magic Wand tool. And if I select that, you see that it changes there. Let's change it back. One more example, Dodge tool. Click and hold. Once the menu appears, you can let go of the mouse button and make the selection you wish, and just click on it. Okay, here, foreground color and background color. By default, the foreground color is black and the background color is white. If you click the arrow here, it switches them over, so now the foreground color is white. Another way to change the foreground color is to click, and you get the color picker. You can then type in numerical values if you wish, or here, we're currently in the red, as you can see, so we can move this around to get different shades. So here's the new foreground color, and here's the current foreground color. And if we want, we can click and hold and go through these different colors. We can go to green, and now we can choose a different shade of green. If I OK that, the foreground color is now that. And the same for background color. We can click, and we can choose a blue. And let's say choose a light shade of blue, and OK. There we go. So now, over on the right, these are called groups, and they basically make different options readily available. First of all, if you take a look at these arrows here, it says Expand Dock, so that's what happens. And you can click in this part of any group, and it minimizes it effectively. And if we do the same here, it minimizes that as well. You can click again, and it maximizes it. You can right-click, and we can close the group. Again, just clicking here is the same as minimize, and if we choose Collapse to Icons, that's what happens. So the text goes. Or we can expand it again by clicking there, or collapse to icons again by clicking here. If we do that, and then we can, for example, right-click and close group, right-click, close group, and again, and again, and these groups are disappearing from the screen. And we can do the same here. And actually, just before I do that, you see that you can collapse to icons here and expand it, and you can hold the mouse over the edge. Let's try that again. Hold the mouse over the edge, and we can expand it or make it narrower, like that. But let's expand it and close all these. And once we've closed them all, this part of the screen will disappear. But it's quite straightforward to bring it back. We can go to the Window menu, and if, for example, we want Actions to come back, click that. Animation to come back, click that. Brushes to come back. And OK, not enough room to display brushes in this configuration, so let's choose a different one. Channels. And you can see how that goes. And again, okay, if you want to close it, you can just click in the X, standard for Windows, and you can close them by clicking in the X again. So those groups are gone. And if you want, you can get rid of tools and even get rid of the Options toolbar here. So here's the Options toolbar, and here's where you can click, hold, and drag it if you want to move it around. So the interface is very customizable, as you can see. You can remove it if you wish by going to Window and Options, and we have a completely blank screen. Then you can bring them back just by clicking through these. Or alternatively, you can go to the Workspace submenu from the Window menu and choose Default Workspace. So, okay, Window, Default Workspace, and they all come back as they originally were. Let's just change the tools to wider and shorter, like that. And also Window, Workspace, Reset Palette Locations, pretty much the same effect. And you can even customize the menus and reset menus if you wish, and so on, so the interface is very customizable. And the point of all these groups, as they're called, and also the tools, is to make everything readily accessible. And that's a very quick introduction to the interface and how you can customize it. And if I were to open an image, pretty standard, File Open, and here, let's just go with winter. Open that. Okay, now we have an image open in Photoshop and we can maximize it. And there are also different views available here in Tools. If you click and hold, we were initially in standard screen mode, which looks like that. And of course, you can click, hold, and drag it and expand it like that. And then zoom in with the zoom tool. Click, and you can zoom in like that. And then different views. And actually, if you just click on it once, it cycles through them. But here are the options. The standard screen mode is what we were initially in. Maximized screen mode is how this looks. So there's no overlap here with the image and the tools or the groups. If we collapse these for now to give us more screen space, and let's actually drag this over, and if you want, you may even close them temporarily to make even more space. And again, if we change the tools, it gives us a bit more screen space there. But actually, it goes off the bottom of the screen in this screen setting. Let's bring that back. And what's the next screen view? Screen mode, full screen mode with menu bar. Click and OK, and that's how that looks. So that really is full screen. And again, you can zoom in, but it's actually difficult to see what's off the edge of the screen. So what you can do then is click here to fit screen, and it brings you down to size. The next screen mode is full screen mode. Actually, full screen mode with menu bar. And full screen mode, no menu bar, so even fewer options. And again, if we zoom in, it goes off the edge of the screen. What we can do then is choose this tool, the Hand tool, and it works similar to the Hand tool in Adobe Acrobat Reader, where you click, hold, and drag, and you can move your document around that way. But it's maybe not the most efficient way to work, but it depends on how you prefer to work, of course. If you don't want to do that, then go back to Fit Screen, and of course click to change the screen mode. So we're back to standard screen mode. Let's go back to Maximize Screen Mode, and there we go. And okay, that's a quick crash course into the Photoshop CS3 interface. In the videos that follow, we'll start diving in quite quickly into the particular features of Photoshop.